thing. And recording. Hello and welcome everybody. It is the Addicted to Loot podcast, episode 39, with yours truly, Atomic Zero, aka Brian, not Brent for all those who've been calling me Brent, and Tom, aka Tomality, who is currently not focusing on the podcast. But
it broke. It broke again. It broke. Every single one I pick up, it breaks. Forget this. Hi. Sorry. Yes, I've just been playing a little bit of The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild.
Uh-huh.
What?
Foreshadowing. I mean, come on. We have it in our little schedule here. I mean, you're gonna give all the non-viewing people, you're taking out the whole point of doing Twitch.
Oh well, surprise. Hi guys. We're Addicted to Loot. We're a mostly PC gaming podcast.
Mostly.
We talk about video game news, video game happenings, and the games you guys have been playing, the games us guys have been playing. How are you guys doing today? How are you? Hello, Twitch chat. Hello.
Hey, everybody in Twitch. What up?
I gotta say, I'm sorry. Monday is like my favorite day of the week right now.
Apparently.
Because if you haven't watched the gang from Rollout yet, you have to. Like, these guys are they're so class with what they do. There's this group, we've talked about it before, they do a Dragon Age role-playing game and a Dungeons & Dragons one, which I haven't caught up on yet. I'm sorry, guys. Thursdays are a tough day for me. But the Dragon Age one is just exceptional. These guys could be like an improv acting troupe. I swear to God, they're so on point. They're so funny. The characters are hysterical. This should be the cast of the next Dragon Age game. Like, just FYI, BioWare. But I love them so much. They bring me so much joy. Watch it. Go catch up on the streams, and check it out on Mondays. That's 4 p.m. Eastern time in the U.S. What?
Please stay tuned while Tom does math.
I'm not very good at the math. If anyone's listening, please correct me there. But it's really great. Watch it. Can't recommend it enough.
Gets two really giant gold coins up from the
yes,
Loot Cast.
Gold coins up. We give it one loot chest up.
Hooray! Which is about as much as we can carry.
I'm basically here for the smutty fan fiction that's coming out of it. It's really great.
Smutty? I was gonna say, I'm behind the 8 ball here.
It wouldn't be a BioWare related thing
you bring up a very good point there.
So anyway, hello, welcome to episode 39 of this thing that we do. And what's up, Brian?
What's up, Tom?
What's new in video games?
Oh, in video games? Well, you know how there's like that whole Star Wars movie that just had that big trailer the other day?
I know what Star Wars.
You know what Star Wars is? You must be a nerd, you geek. God, 4 eyes. But anyway. Oh, well, also in the world of Star Wars, they also make video games about Star Wars. And guess what?
To varying degrees of success.
Well, that's what we're going to be testing in this next installment.
9 p.m. to midnight in the UK. Roll out. Watch it. 9 p.m. to midnight UK, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and the Fisher Queen, whatever time that is in Arizona, wherever that
wherever that is.
State. Sounds fake, but okay. Sorry, you were saying Star Wars? Yes, I love Star Wars.
Uh-huh. Well, Battlefront 2 just dropped. The official opening announcement trailer for Star Wars Battlefront 2 just hit the interwebs, and, well, I kind of don't really have too many opinions on it, because Tom, you're the only person I know that really played the original one, which, as some might say, was the opening beta for Battlefront 2. What were your thoughts on it?
So there's this hilarious tweet I gotta acknowledge. So Star Wars Battlefront 2 obviously is a sequel to the Battlefront 1 remake, soft reboot, that came out 2 years ago. And
something like that, yeah.
So there's this funny tweet that was out there on the Twitters that said, hey, if you want, you can play the beta for Star Wars Battlefront 2 right now. And it was a link to the store page for the original Battlefront game. That's funny. Because, okay, so this is a little backstory here. The original Star Wars Battlefront actually, way back, early 2000s.
We were in high school.
And then there was Star Wars Battlefront 2, the original Star Wars Battlefront 2, which was exceptional. This was I played it on the PS2. I think
it was for the Xbox because I had the original Battlefront on Xbox 360, maybe even the original Xbox. I can't remember. It might have been 360. And then I got Xbox. Then I got PlayStation 2 or the PlayStation 2. The original Star Wars Battlefront 2, which I loved. I loved both of those games. I put tons of hours into both of those games.
Yeah, Battlefront 2 was just really cool. It's interesting because at its core, it was a team-based multiplayer game.
I mean, it was exactly what it was now. I mean...
Yeah, and it was, okay, we have Stormtroopers versus Rebels, or... Because it covered the then two eras, the prequel era and the current era, or middle era, I guess.
Yeah, only the two eras, yeah.
And
current canon.
So you had, like, Clone Troopers versus the droids, or Stormtroopers versus Rebels. And, again, it was basically a PvP or... Yeah,
it was a big, massive multiplayer game. I mean, it was a lot of fun, though. I mean, I definitely enjoyed it. I actually played it just mostly me versus the computer, just tons and tons and tons.
Yeah,
just because
it was really good.
Up in the Great North Woods, where we were in high school, there wasn't exactly... But see, since then, technology finally migrated up to the North Woods. So back when, there wasn't such a thing as online multiplayer because it would just not work. So... It is much better now with new technology.
Yes. Sorry,
the addicted to loot chat window, but
I'm so happy to see a Templar and a Mage finally getting along. It's so
for
good.
Now. That's why we have filters. Thank you, and moderators.
Well, hey, I'm here for it if it gets a little bit smutty. Anyway. Battlefront, yes. So Battlefront 2 was really good. It also had a campaign where it just linked these, again, basically matchups, PvP matchups, in a sequence. And you were Stormtrooper McGuy, and you're just kind of going forward and following the campaign, and ended on Hoth, which was like, yay, it's our big victory. We don't talk about Endor, etc., etc. What's really interesting... Now you have the remake, Star Wars Battlefront, and I'm going to say 2 years ago. It might have been 3. I think it was 2 years ago. This was made by DICE. This was the Battlefield, excuse me. This is what's really confusing. The Battlefield crew. So it looks so good. Star Wars Battlefront 2015 is the best looking, feeling, like, Star Wars game. It's just, you are in... the Star Wars movie sets.
You're into the Star Wars.
Well, like, specifically, like, when something would blow up, like an AT-AT, or, anything would blow up, it looked like a fake firecracker blowing up a cardboard model. Like, it looked like the Star Wars movies. It wasn't like, wow, I'm in Star Wars. It's like, oh my god, I'm in, like, the Star Wars
movies.
Films. Yeah.
But you actually kind of liked it, as opposed to, like, realistic?
Well, yeah, because it was like, this is, the blaster has the sound, it's got the feel, and it was wrapped up in Battlefield's years and years of doing this. So it was exceptional. It was really great. But it was just a multiplayer game, and it was pretty lightweight when it came out. It was like, okay, we've got our, 7 or 8 maps, our few modes, couple kind of like capture the flag, etc. And it just kind of was like that was where it was. And they started adding updates, but it was too little too late, a little bit like Titanfall. So Star Wars Battlefront 2, which is coming out very soon, adds a story mode, adds a full-fledged campaign mode, where you are playing as, I am going to butcher the name, so I'm not even going to attempt it, but you're playing as a woman special ops stormtrooper, which is cool because
you're on the bad side this time. Yeah,
Battlefront 2 was that too. You were Vader's fist. You were his, like, go-getter guys. And it's always fun to do that kind of perspective.
You play as Iden Verzio? Iden Verzio. Something like that. Something along those lines.
Verizon has had a very bad day because she is...
Not
it looks like
Sprint?
Not Sprint. Miss Verizon is having a very bad day. She can't sprint. There's no sprint ability. Because it looks like, from this trailer, she's fighting on Endor, which, as we know in Star Wars canon, is like where the Stormtroopers and the Empire as a whole just, boom, failed miserably. And it's like, hey, we're the special ops, we're here, we're awesome. And then she looks up, and the Death Star version 2 of 7 goes kaboom! And that's when she's all like, no, how could this happen? And so there you go. I think that's it's interesting, because it looks like that's setting up your plot. Okay, you're gonna be revengey mixed stormtrooper lady going through, and it looks like there's like maybe a resurrected version of the Emperor or something, which looks like a little bit of Star Wars: The Old Republic, which makes me really happy, but we're not gonna go there. Anyway, the big thing about the original Battlefront is that it didn't touch the new era of Star Wars. It was very much the middle era, the Luke Skywalker era. And this says spans 30 years, and the trailer's like, here's Darth Maul, here's Kylo Ren, here's Rey, and here's Yoda with a lightsaber, which means it's early stuff. I'm excited.
Mm-hmm. And it has that whole question of, are you the good guy or are you the bad guy? Who's on what side?
I mean, even if the story is trash, it's probably going to be fun to play. Force Unleashed.
Especially, the other big thing here is there is one. I mean, that's also the biggest thing that was, it wasn't in the first one, it's in the second one. The fact that it's there is better than nothing. I don't know whether the quality of it's going to be any good just because the trailer was purely cinematic. It just kind of gave you a feel of, like you said, it laid out the groundwork potentially for this, whether or not the main story spans eras or whether only the multiplayer spans eras. It'd be kind of interesting to see. Like, maybe the story mission could actually bounce between eras and like show how everything led up to it, but who knows?
Mm-hmm. I know that... Go ahead.
I was going to say, basically, is there anything else that you would say that... Like, what would be the things from Star Wars 1 that you would hope they actually would improve on into? Like, are there things that were glaringly missing, or is there things that you liked and then you wanted them to keep? Like, what would be your perfect Battlefront 2?
This is what I want. I guess I wanted this. I played the first one a couple of times, and then I was just tired. I was like, this is incredible. This is the best.
Thank you terribly.
Like... I don't know, like the best atmosphere for a Star Wars game. It felt really good. It's really crunchy, without being like, oh, it's grim and gritty. It was just it was fun. But I do want the campaign. I do want the adventure, because Star Wars is a goofy adventure. It's a big old sweeping space opera. It's an epic. Yeah. And I want to feel like I'm a character in Star Wars. I think, we've talked a lot about Star Wars: The Old Republic, which is no secret that I love Star Wars: The Old Republic, and I know Oz likes it too. I know he said something on Twitter about like, yes, it's very good. It is. It's really good. It's made by BioWare. I love
the Old Republic. I still remember playing the original one on my original Xbox and loving it. It's one of the very first games where the twist to this day is still one of those ones that will make me like just sit there in my chair.
Knights of the Old Republic.
Oh yeah, Knights of the Old Republic. Also, yes. The Old Republic. All the republics of the Star Wars. There really hasn't been a bad run. I know the sequel to the Old Republic, or Knights of the Old Republic, was kind of meh, but the original one, that started this whole thing off, was just so intense. It was one of the very I'd say one of the very first epic games, especially since it was it was definitely a BioWare game where tons of character development. A lot of those really corny, you're walking along, and all of a sudden it's like, your companion looks like they want to tell you something. Maybe you should talk to them. And you're like, hey, do you want to say something? They're like, well, now that you ask. And then you get in this whole long thing.
I love that feature, because it's like, imagine if it's just like, it's the real life equivalent of like, I'm sorry, is something on your mind?
Oh, now you want to talk. But but think about it. Look at Mass Effect Andromeda. The email system is literally, "Hey, your companion wants to talk to you." It's the same thing, or the intercom system. It's all about the same thing. But it was one of those games where, even the end where the big twist happened. When you find out you're actually Raven and all that shit, that still blows my mind to this day. Oh, calm down. It was 10 years ago. I think it's well beyond the statute of limitations.
I don't know. Spoilers. Anyway, KOTOR 1 and 2 are good games.
Amazing games.
Brent. And
I'm not Brent, damn it. You and this Brent person, damn you.
a good name, Brent.
Meh.
It paved the way for Dragon Age. There was something on Tumblr that I got tagged in, where it was like, I was like, why, yes, I can make every single conversation about Dragon Age. And now that you've asked, it's just like, yeah.
You, out of most people, could. So let's see what we have. Our little poll here. Scaly's very hopeful. I am so hopeful, Zombie. Let's just see. Anyone else have a big thing? Yeah, okay, I guess.
Yeah, I think hopeful is the word that I'd use.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't get into the first one mainly for the exact reasons that you cited. There wasn't a lot out there that made me ever want to jump into it. I mean, minus the one random sound effect ridden video that you did on YouTube, which I loved. That was like my entire experience with that game, and that was all I needed. I didn't need more than that. I'm like, this is exactly what I feel like it's gonna be like. So, boom, done. So, like I said, I'm hoping this one actually gives a little bit more. I'm hoping this one does, I hope this one does what a Titanfall 2 did. I hope it comes out with this campaign that, blows people away. And then you're like, what the hell? And you're just like, this game could do this? And it's just like, oh, well, thank you, for the love of God.
Yeah, I think, honestly, if this is a literal sequel to the original Star Wars Battlefront 2, where it's just like a loosely connected sequence of otherwise PvP missions, okay, fine. I'd be fine with that. If it's a really tightly scripted thing like Titanfall 2 was, I'd be pleasantly surprised. I'd be like, I'm not expecting that, basically.
Yeah.
And so if that happened, I'd go, whoa, okay, give me that sweet, sweet content.
Give me more of that affecting cause. Give me something that big pull out of your butt moment. Come on.
I mean, there's that.
What? Come on.
The big pull out.
Think about it. Were you expecting affecting cause?
Am I still watching the Templars? Anyway, so what? You think you're gonna get it?
Meh. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, it's the campaign would have to do something special for me to get it. That's really I even played Titanfall 1. The only thing that made me play Titanfall 2 is because you're like, Brian, oh my God, Brian, what? You should play the campaign. Really? Why? It is amazing. I don't know. Do it. Fine. So that literally will probably be the only other reason why I do this. I'll probably look for some reviews and a few other things, but me personally, I'm like everyone else in our chat, kind of maybe hopeful that it does more what the original ones did. Because like I said, the original ones, like you were saying, the original Star Wars Battlefront that was on Xbox, the original one, was completely under the radar. No one even really knew about it. I just kind of picked it up on a whim, and it was amazing. I would love to have some more of that, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, this was an all cinematic trailer, game engine footage, but cinematic trailer. I'd like to see it in action, I guess, is what it is. And if it's one of those things where it's like, hey, we've got, here's the first mission or something like that. I don't usually watch videos like that, but I would for this, because I'd just be like, okay, how's it play? What's it feel like?
I usually do, and my testament to whether or not I'm going to get the game would be, do I watch it completely through, or do I stop midway because I don't want to see the end of the level? That's my whole thing. If they make me want to stop the video, I will actually potentially, most likely I will buy it. But that is just kind of where my thing lies. But hopefully they do something better with this game.
Yeah, absolutely. What all is next, Brian?
Well, another game that came of no short supply on this channel, Ghost Recon Badlands.
You did that one on purpose.
Maybe. Ghost Recon Badlands, the DLC.
For those who are just joining us or only recently joining us, every time we talked about Ghost Recon Wildlands for 5 episodes, Brian accidentally called it Ghost Recon Badlands.
Still Badlands. I really hope they do a DLC that's called Badlands, just so that it makes I just would love it.
I mean, it's an understandable goof.
But okay, so kidding aside, Wildlands is getting a new DLC, which is once again another game that's more up in your wheelhouse. And this
the only person on Earth that plays this game.
Maybe still.
And I loved it.
And yeah, I mean, I honestly loved it. I mean, like I said, I didn't hate the beta. It just didn't do enough to make me ever want to get the full one. Well, the DLC is a little interesting because, the original game had some quirk to it, but mostly it felt like it was like a serious, or was attempting to be a serious, special ops in a, uncivilized country. They're trying to do good. They're trying to stop kingpins and everything else. And this DLC just says, "Fuck it, let's just not bother." Like, but in a good way. Like, not in a bad way, but like they just said, "Screw it, let's just take the zany meter all the way up to holy shit." Because, I mean, literally, the opening picture for this new DLC is people holding guns that are bigger than they ever should be in front of a monster truck. I mean, come on.
I think I want to believe. I want to believe that they're listening because.
In what way though? I mean, listening to what?
Well, because when the game came out, it was very much like my me personally, my original impression was like, oh, it's a fun like open world like Far Cry-ish, like hey, Mercenaries, for those who remember that way back.
Best game ever.
Drive trucks around, go to an outpost. Do you want to stealth? Do you want to go crazy with a chain gun? Do what you want. Get in a helicopter. You can ride a fucking helicopter. Do what you want. It's like I like games like that when they're just fun, like a little bit goofy. But the problem is, then it would be like the story stuff would kick in and be like, interrogate this prisoner, and he's like, okay, fuck nuts, tell me where the Bolivian drug cartel is based. I'm like, whoa, it's one of those. Okay.
As he's wearing like an afro and a funny Hawaiian shirt and like everything else.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Like, it's like I'm gonna dress my guy up to have like pink hair, pink beard, and like big Kanye sunglasses or something. I don't know.
Let's get serious.
Yeah, and it's just like, God damn, I love America. And it's, there's a lot of like tonal bullshit in that game. But when you just completely push that stuff aside, it's fun, funny, could be funnier. Any game that's like systems based, right? Mm-hmm. Where it's just like, okay, we're gonna just put all these NPCs and physics
and physics.
Giant map. We're gonna put in a good game, NPCs plus physics.
Physics. What should we put in this game? Raise his hand. Should we put physics in this time? You, sir, are mad.
Jenkins, give that man a raise. And that's it. That's all I need to have fun. Just put a bunch of NPCs in a big old camp and give me something to do something with, whether it's a crossbow or a sniper rifle, I don't care. And let's go to town. Let's have fun.
Okay, here's the thing. So, just to summarize this real quick. I mean, you get 4 new outfits, 9 new guns, 4 new vehicle types, including monster trucks, yay, nitrous-boosted muscle cars,
but
motorcycles, and aerobatic planes.
The premise of this DLC is that you have to, like, impress drug lords with your ridiculous extreme stunt skills. In order to like infiltrate the cartel. It's like I'm here for that. Sign me up. Like,
you're literally wearing a giant badge going, hey guys, you want to let me in? Well, he has a big enough car, so I guess we should. Like,
it's like, wow, can you do 29 rad stunts on your monster truck, and then you'll be in our secret
in our secret little monster truck gang.
The inside for America.
There's like 4 guys in monster trucks that pull up like, we're the monster truck gang. But
yeah.
Okay, but here's the thing, like I'm
always a champion for like make your game silly.
But here's the thing, I mean, there's a time and a place for that, and maybe this game might do better by going that way, because, I mean, to be fair, the beta was a little, almost to the point of being dull for me, because it was just almost too intense, or, like, too serious. I think, I mean, once again, I enjoyed the beta because I played it with you. I would not enjoy it myself. But if there is, like, an aspect of a monster truck, maybe it might be a little bit more fun to literally just, like, okay, because imagine, like, one of us driving the monster truck, the other person hanging out at the side of the door or something like that, or in the back of it or something, just with a machine gun, just, just going through a freaking outpost like we did on a helicopter, a lot more fun, a lot less, like, careful. But the only other thing is, and this is another testament to the differences between you and I as gamers, like, Far Cry 4 had elephants, right?
Yes.
Or they all did. But,
yeah,
like, the elephant thing was fun for a while, and I would equate, like, elephant equals monster truck to my scenario, and it's just, like, it was fun for a while, but even after a little while, I'm like, elephants are elephants, they're not special anymore. So
elephants,
it's like,
nature's monster truck.
Whatever. But, you know what I mean? Like, I just don't know, like, as soon as the novelty wears off, is this DLC enough to maintain it? It's still, like, it's a game that...
See, I'm not like, in the grand scheme of things, I'm not very far in Wildlands, so this is like coming along at a time where it's like, oh, cool, okay, so like my continuing experience with the game, this will be a part of it.
It makes sense. Okay. I mean, I'm just hoping. I guess the one good thing would be if this is a game that's focusing on making the player create their own fun, they're giving them just more toys to do it with. I mean, that's probably the best way of saying it.
That's like the gospel for me. Like, give me more goofy, silly toys. I had a long conversation last night with a friend about GTA, Saints Row, kind of like, because she wasn't familiar with GTA. Fisher Queen, if you're still watching, it was Danny I was talking with. And she's like, I don't really know GTA. Isn't that like hookers and murder? I was like, well, yeah, but I mean,
yes.
like,
pretty good summary.
It's like, because I was, yeah, I know. Danny did. She was like, I don't know. I've written off GTA. I just thought it was like, I was like, I think you're dumb right now. But she's not wrong. But it's like GTA 1 and 2 were like, hey, play our crime game, you know, steely wheelie automobile-y. And it's like, okay, cool.
Top down, yeah, those are fun games. Those are really fun games.
GTA 3 was like, hey, you know, Godfather and The Sopranos. Let's, you know, do you know New York City? And that was the first one that's like, that's the one that I ripped that from a Tumblr post, by the way. Steely wheelie automobile is it's like Mevrin, okay? That's copyrighted material. Anyway, GTA 3 is the one that which everyone thinks about when they say
what, Vice City?
No, 3.
The
original.
The original, yeah.
Or whatever his name was.
Yeah, the one right before Vice City. Yeah.
I don't know why I'm doing this, because he was polygonal. So like,
he was the very first non-top-down GTA, basically,
right.
Yeah.
And it was Liberty City. It was New York, you know. And that was the one that was the first one that was kind of like, what I'm sorry, I'm still thinking about Steely Wheelie Automobile. That was the one that was the first one that was like, what we're doing now.
Yeah.
And then Vice City came along, and it was like, what is this game? Like, first time I saw that, it was in our 8th grade English classroom. It's Mr. Boulet's room. And
really?
Someone brought it in. Someone brought in a PS2 and Vice City, because we just had like some time to kill. And
as we did.
What is this? This is incredible. Like 1980s culture and like it's like
you have no idea.
An homage
you have no idea.
Ask me about my memory problems. An homage, it's the opposite of like memory problems. It's like I remember things too specifically. An homage to the 80s, but also a parody of stuff, kind of like a love letter to it.
Yeah, it was like.
And then around the same time, you had like Saints Row 1 was like, hey, let's be a gang game, and it was like, yeah, okay, you're just a GTA ripoff. And then Saints Row 2 was like, no, let's add characters, like personalities. Like, yeah, okay, whatever. Then you had Vice City. Then you had San Andreas, which I didn't really get into.
I didn't like San Andreas. Some people did. I didn't like it.
Yeah, I respect it, I guess. I know Alec liked it.
Yeah, he was one of the few people I knew that did.
Yeah. How about the memory problems? And then, you know, those were kind of pretty lighthearted. And then you had GTA 4, and it was like, whoa, sad Russian simulator. You know, it was like really dramatic.
But you want to go bowling? Come on.
Yeah, well, yeah, that too. But it was just, you know, let's add a really cinematic story, but pretty much completely depressing. And it's like, okay, I see what you're going for here. At the same time, you have Saints Row 3. And it's like, okay, what if GTA had a dildo bat? It's like, okay.
I'm listening.
Go on. And, you know, then GTA 5, and here's this big, colorful thing, and yeah, the story has its problems, but overall, it's pretty silly. It's a little bit, you know, it's ridiculous. It's like I've said many times, GTA, Guardians of the Galaxy, the humor gets a little bit like, ha! Yeah, you know, ha ha ha. But it's colorful. GTA 5 is crazy. Dildo bat. Dildo bat. Not just a bath full of like. Although that would probably be like really like.
It would be very Saints Row-ish, yeah.
That'd be really therapeutic too. Like it'd just be like this massage.
Dump.
Sorry, yes. Thinking about weird baths. GTA 5, colorful, fun, funny, let you do a lot more of what you wanted again. Saints Row 4 is just like, okay, let's blow the roof off that. Okay, what if it was, The Matrix, and also Mass Effect, and also Call of Duty, and also Apocalypse Now, and everything, and Harry Potter, and let's just throw in everything. I don't know. I'm always for that.
So you're kind of hoping that maybe... Do you want Wildlands to keep going in that direction, or do you... Okay,
yeah, massively. I want them to drop this, like, we're American Special Ops, and we're here to save...
We're bros, we're America, yeah, G.I. Joes kind of thing.
Because it's so weird. I can never tell if Wildlands is trying to parody that, or if they're taking it seriously. Like, if they're parodying it, they're too on the nose. And if they're taking it seriously, it's so on the nose that it's not like... I'm not into this. This isn't my type of fiction. So, like, The Division takes itself seriously. There's nothing funny about it.
Yeah, no.
It's like, okay, are you into the idea of this? Yeah, okay, enough. Yeah, it's kind of like apocalypse fiction stuff. So yeah, okay. But Wildlands is like, hey, let's drive a monster truck. Also, America. I don't know. I'm here for it. I'm probably gonna get. I think I have the season pass.
Do you have the season pass?
I think I do. So I'm getting this.
I was gonna say then you already have it.
Yep.
Then that is getting ready to drop in.
Out now.
It is.
Tomorrow for
next
season pass holders.
Yes.
And April 25 for everyone else.
So April 25 would be by the time a little after you hear this on Friday. So, for all those listening to the audio, April 25th, unless you have the season pass, and then it's April 18th. Good spot for a cut.
We're going to take a little break, just a momentary one, for audio purposes.
Good to keep going.
Save as episode 39, a peek behind the curtain. Holy shit. Here we go. Let's do this.
Keep going. Good. Well, Tom, it's been quite a long time since we've mentioned this next game on our podcast. I mean, it seems like it's been like 2 whole episodes. We're kind of going through withdrawals. Thankfully, the guys at Roberts Technology
Roberts Space Industries.
Thank you. We're more than nice enough to drop a big news on the PC world. Star Citizen 3.0 is finally hitting June 29th. Oh my god.
People who've actually played and own Star Citizen.
I can't really say that. But...
Okay, I'm someone who actually owns Star Citizen. I'm one of those guys.
No, not Fisher. I ain't terribly. But yeah, it's Star Citizen. I still want to get it. Eventually, I definitely 1,000% gonna get it. Just need to pull the trigger. But Star Citizen 3.0, for anyone who's probably listened to the last 2 or 3 times we've actually covered Star Citizen, this is the update that we've been alluding to all those times. This is the last big update that at CitizenCom or whatever the hell it gets called. I forget what the big thing's called. Whatever.
Yes, I'm gonna go ahead and say yes.
Something like that. This is what they showed. This is that hour-long gameplay. This is all happening in the 3.0 realm. So this is the stuff that basically allows you to pick up and manipulate objects more frequently. It allows you to fly in and fly out of planets that allow you to land wherever the hell you want. That basically you can do like kind of the No Man's Sky thing of just whee and then land. I mean, it's just you can fly in and out at the same time.
Weeing and landing. Oh shit, that's not what I meant.
Not
what I meant. You ever just regret saying something? Go ahead, keep talking.
But anyway, like literally, you can fly into the atmosphere and someone flies out of the atmosphere all in real time. As well as this is the time that actually starts putting in missions, starts putting in cinematics, whole slew of things. But
landing on moons.
Yeah, that is a whole new thing.
That.
You can basically start landing on planets now. There's going to be landable planets, which are going to be awesome. And the best part about these planets I believe they're 100% rendered all around the globe. I mean, no matter where you go, no matter what you do, the entire planet is basically drawn out and rendered. So you can, like, if you see out on the horizon a little tiny blip on the mountain or something like that, you can go there. That's exactly what it looks like. You actually have realistic distance vision because of the fact that it's 1,000% in real time present. I mean, it's awesome. That's just kind of how Star Citizen does it. No matter what, the game is constantly just living. It's one big universe, which is what really draws us to it. And we kind of have a little blurb here that kind of goes into more detail. So let's see. They're adding 3 new moons, a new planet. They're adding derelict ships, which would kind of be like your random event for all those who are just like MMO players kind of thing. Derelict ships meaning that you can just be flying around, find an anomaly or something like that, and you can just come up on a shipwreckage and just jump out of your plane, go in, find some stuff, find some loot, kill some people, who knows, find some pirates, flip another...
Just a day in the life.
Flip another comma ray, who knows? And then, this is a big one for Tom. They give you the ability now to load and unload cargo from your ship, which I'm not really sure if does that mean like you physically just like manually do it, or like there's a button that says unload cargo, like sail by...
Oh, I hope it's manual. That would be so cool.
Like you actually get like a little dolly and just like, whee!
I love it. Yes, absolutely. I want to be a space
trucker. I mean,
completely legal space merchant.
You don't want to be a pirate?
Mover of supplies for people who need them.
And last but not least, this is gonna bring in the very first ever playable capital ship, which I think is huge. I don't think it's the same capital ship that they had a teaser video for like a few months ago, maybe. There was a minute and a half video of a capital ship kind of like coming out of a port inside of a like a planet or something.
Looming.
Something like that. Yeah, it was like this like big giant mining capital ship or something like that. I don't believe this is the same one, but ultimately it's the very first playable capital ship. And put this in perspective, these capital ships have 3 whole decks. And that might okay, well, what the hell does that mean? Okay, so the little plane that Tom and I piloted on that special event back in February, this thing was massive. It was a 5 person minimum, or it had 5 chairs.
Something like that, yeah.
It's a 5 person fighter, basically. 2 turrets, 2 co-pilot seats, and a pilot seat. That technically didn't even have a deck. Realistically, it was just a ship, right? This thing has 3 decks. I mean, it literally, I don't know how many people it's going to take to man this thing, but it's probably going to be in the double digits plus, I would assume. Like, to get this thing truly manned and truly effective. I'm assuming there's going to be, I was trying to find more details on it. I couldn't at a first glance at a few searches. I'm assuming there's going to be tons of turrets. There has to be numerous, like, engineering spots, co-pilot spots, the actual pilot spot. I mean, people in the cargo bay. I mean, there has to be tons of things on this thing for people to do. And I can only imagine, like...
Go ahead.
No, that's basically the end of my thought. So what's up?
I think that the hope by both the developers and the players is that it becomes a game like Eve where it's player run, and that you get people in these capital ships that are like, you know, this is a clan or a cluster of people, and
that literally is their flagship almost. There's like, oh my god, it's them. Let's go hide because they might steal all our lunch money.
Right. Yeah, like I if you ever played a small MMO, like guilds mean so much more because you will see guys like with an emblem or something. You're like, oh Jesus, it's them, and it is. It's literally the feeling of like, hi, this is not a PvP map, so bye.
I mean, some MMOs, I mean, they weren't too bad. I mean, for that, but like you said, the best example of that would be in Eve, because literally Eve is 100% player controlled, and they actually have civil wars. They actually have player-based civil wars that can throw the universe into turmoil because of the fact that players are responsible for actual goods and services in the game. So when you have a war and those like supply chains and everything else get disrupted, shit, hits the fan. And it's really interesting. It'd be really cool if Star Citizen can pull this off with the level of detail that they're striving for, because it would be incredible. Because you could literally just have a massive fleet just strong arming your way into places. Like if there's potentially like if there's an option for player run like space stations or anything else like that, you could literally just like, this is ours now, but we can't. Okay, I guess we could work with you. You know what I mean? Like. It'd be cool.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, that's what I'm here for.
I mean, it'd be unfortunate because, like I said, in Eve, it got to the point where that was happening and people had to slowly band together to try to fight the power kind of thing. But in and of itself, it's kind of a cool narrative. I mean, I think it would be very, very interesting. And I don't know what these capital ships like would look like in scale. I can only imagine. I'm trying to think like where would they even launch? Where would you even dock one of these things? Like where would they actually land? Because think about it. Even in Port Osiris when we were launching off of it, there's nowhere in there that would actually have room for a capital ship at all. It'd be like as big as the station or like half the size.
Just hovering.
Whoa.
Which would be cool. Cool imagery. Now, Star Citizen is a good game. We've played it on and off.
A lot.
For a year now.
A lot, yeah.
Every time
from the very first beta too.
Or something, yeah, you join in, and I've got it. I dip into it every now and then. Mm-hmm. It's good. It's a good game. It's really a real game. Like that was the first thing. It's like Star Citizen. Is this just like some kind of, vaporware? Like, send us your money. We're working on it. No, it's real and it's playable. It's real. Fun.
I just don't know what version is going to be the full game. I mean, this is 3.0, which you're like, 0.0. That means it must be like. 3. That must be past beta. Technically, no. This thing is an everlasting beta until they finally say that they're going to do a full release, realistically. So,
yeah.
I mean, 3.0 means nothing to them in game lifetime, especially for Star Citizen with...
I think...
You know what I mean?
I think if someone was on the fence about buying it, I'd say yeah.
You think 3.0 is the one?
Well, I mean, I don't know. We'll find out. But, like, as it is right now, not yet.
Okay.
I think that there's still... more that would have to go into it for me to say, yeah, this is a $60 game.
Mm-hmm.
Because I bought a starter pack, which was 30, 40,
30,
something like that.
30.
Comes with a ship.
If it comes with a ship, it's like 30.
Yeah. So.
And but that starter pack gives you full access for every update from here on out, though.
Right.
I mean, that is the benefit.
That's the thing.
I mean, and think about it. Star Citizen is gonna be a very long-lasting game. It's just gonna constantly be rolling out and rolling out and rolling out and updating and updating and updating. I mean, it already has
sweet rollout reference.
It already has tons of pretty loyal fans. I mean, there's like we said, even outside of the free trials, there's tons of people that just go in and just fly around, grind money, do missions, try to buy up for vehicles and stuff like that. I mean, there's a lot that goes into this game even now. I do wish, and one thing I do hope for is that they get a little bit bigger servers. That was one thing that was kind of...
a lot of problems with that.
Well, some of it might have been self-induced, to be fair. But,
for that story, listen like 4 or 5 episodes ago.
It was quite a while ago, but yeah, that was hilarious. But yeah, servers to me are one of the bigger things, because if they are trying to have an ever-present universe that is player-controlled, you're going to need to have a ton of people on at once. I mean, Eve is basically a point-and-click adventure in a spaceship. The fact that it is point-and-click allows you to have far more people on a server because there's a lot less processing power to it. So I'm not sure what what Star Citizen is going to have to do in order to basically accomplish that. But it should be...
If it starts to grow, then they'll grow the servers.
Oh, obviously. But yeah, I mean, hey, 3.0 dropping June 29th for all those who are interested. So, hey.
I'm interested.
If anyone else out there, we'd love to hear your thoughts, feelings, and if anyone else out there has actually tried it, but besides us, because realistically, I haven't talked to anyone else besides you that's really played it.
They have a lot, very surprising amount. I shouldn't say a lot, but they have a surprising amount of open weekends, open betas, stuff like that. Yeah, I do think it's worth trying.
Sign up for the newsletter.
You do have to have a beefy rig. It runs well on my computer, not perfectly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It runs serviceably on my computer, so.
Huh? And
what else is new?
A game that we've actually didn't think we would love and have grown to love. Heroes of the Storm, Blizzard's lovely little MOBA, is getting a few little additions.
Only good MOBA.
Sitam standard, yes. Is getting a few additional Overwatch add-ons here. Genji is coming to Heroes of the Storm now, which is really cool, and as well as Hanamura, the what would you call it, Japanese-inspired map for Overwatch.
Yeah,
it is, which is interesting because Hanamura is a capture point, but in the game it's actually a payload map, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, Genji is coming to Overwatch, and he actually is. We were talking about this before the stream. Genji is actually a really good fit for Heroes of the Storm. His playstyle and his ability set actually meld really well inside of Heroes of the Storm. He's kind of like a Kerrigan or somebody else. it makes far more sense. Melee, quick, dashes, reflects, tons of great. They meld. It transfers straight over.
He makes a lot more sense than Lucio.
1 second. Did you say anything after Lucio? Your connection's a little rough.
Everything just froze up.
Yeah, the connection dipped a little bit. So, did you say anything after Lucio?
Nope.
Oh, okay. Well, I agree. He definitely fits better than Lucio. We still haven't jumped into Heroes of the Storm since the big update where they made it a little bit friendlier, free to play, gave it more loot boxes and all that other fun stuff. But I would actually wouldn't mind jumping into it just to try out Genji. As much as I hate playing Genji on Overwatch, I actually think I might like playing Genji in Heroes of the Storm.
Sorry, go ahead.
Nope. That basically is all I had about it, unless you had other thoughts.
Yeah, well, I really like the fact that Hanamura is a map. It's a payload-based map. That's cool. Like, the objective being that you have to stay with a payload to get to the whatever endpoint, the other end of the lane. Heroes of the Storm is a really good MOBA. I don't like MOBAs. I'm not a fan of MOBAs. Heroes of the Storm is a good MOBA. You have to find a character that you like. Sorry, distracted by chat.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, you're 100% definitely a Kerrigan player.
I want to play the Hanamura map. That's what I'm more excited about. Genji is like, okay. I probably would like him because I do like the zippy assassin characters. Obviously, Kerrigan is my favorite. But, it doesn't really do anything for me where it's like, oh, Genji, I want to play the Hanamura thing. I just want to see it.
Yeah, because you said, the Hanamura is going to be a payload map. I'm curious how they're going to do payload. I'm assuming it's just going to be the same thing as you have to stand around the payload while the other team tries to push you off of it.
Yeah.
Which works well for Heroes of the Storm. I mean, because like we said, one of the things that makes Heroes of the Storm shine is the fact that it's a wide variety of different kind of game modes, if you will. Every map is different. Every map has a different feel to it. Every map has a different objective. And this one is just going to be another great one. I think it's going to fit really well into it. So I'm excited for it. I'm actually maybe hoping to try that one out in a little while.
Well, there's that huge Heroes of the Storm update coming in May. We talked about it last week, I
thought it already hit. Is it still coming?
I think it's still coming.
Oh, I thought it already hit. Never mind.
And so, they're changing the way that how much it takes to level up your character. Skins are now part of, it's taking the Overwatch system of how skins are just basically loot box packs rather than purchasable with real money. I don't know, maybe they're still purchasable with real money, but now they're drops. They drop as well. So, this just... Yeah, I haven't played Diablo 3 yet.
How could you?
Have you?
Yes!
Do you have Diablo 3?
Yeah.
You do?
I beat it quite a bit, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Because I'm a true PC gamer. I don't go to Nintendo or anything else.
What?
What? Yeah, jab.
How
salt,
is Diablo 3
salt.
clean? How?
You what now?
I want to know more about Diablo 3 because how is it?
Well, there's a lot to say about Diablo 3, but I mean, I always liked Diablo 3.
Well, let's talk about it. That's what we're here for.
I mean, I love hack and slash. I love dungeon crawling hack and slash. Diablo is literally the granddaddy of all dungeon crawling hack and slash. I mean, I didn't like Diablo 3 as much as I like Diablo 2. I think not really the story. The story was fine. The story was good. The maps itself were they looked like Diablo. They were really well done. The enemies were really well done. I mean, more mayhem than you can ever hope for. I wasn't a fan of the abilities, like how the ability system worked in Diablo, Diablo 3 rather. It's not bad. I mean, it's manageable. I don't know. I kind of hoped it would have been more like a traditional dungeon crawlers, but that could just purely be me. They weren't bad. I mean, I liked the classes. Definitely had their own feel. I got into the Crusader, which is kind of like sword and shield, kind of very much tanky, holy warrior kind of guy. He was more my speed. yeah, that's really my jam, and that's typically my speed. He was fun. I tried quite a few characters, actually. I could see how all of them would be useful and or fun. And I think it's just very personalized, very personality driven. The end game is actually pretty manageable, pretty salvageable in the sense of, you have daily quests and things like that. You have a heroic version of missions and things like that you can grind out. Tons of different loot that can drop. You can get very specific, like, legendary gear that, like, oh, if you're gonna be an end game tank, you need blankety blank's helm and, like, blah, blah, things like that. They actually did a pretty good job, and people are liking the fact that they're still updating and still doing expansions, just like the Necromancer, which is gonna be a new class dropping in the next update, and people have been, like, super, super hyped for it. That's about as much as I can say, because I haven't read too much up on it since, besides the official announcement. But yeah, Necromancer.
What is the Necromancer? What's their thing?
They raise things from dead.
So they're just like a good parent. No, I mean, like, what's their...
that literally is as much as I can get. That's as much as I remember. It's, I don't know. I'm assuming, once again, they're more of a pet-based caster. That's probably the best thing I can think of. I mean, it's a Necromancer. I don't think they're trying to, like, do anything special with it. It's just they're implementing a Necromancer into Diablo 3. Which, I mean, it fits the canon. It fits the story pretty well. So, raise dead to life. Haha, see? Thank you. That's basically what I was trying to say.
I mean...
Hashtag Necromancer.
I only played whatever the Diablo was that that same English teacher had on his computer. I've never owned a Diablo game.
That was Diablo 2, I thought, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. And that's, like, my only experience with Diablo.
Yeah, I mean, Diablo 1 was way back there. I still remember playing Diablo 1, and that was way, way back there. So, but like I said, Diablo 3, it filled my hack and slash craving, because I'm still constantly looking for, like, another Baldur's Gate 2 or Diablo 2, Champions of Norrath, something to give me that, like, kind of like pseudo top-down, third-person, dungeon crawling, epic adventure, hack and slash kind of game. I really do miss hack and slashes with, pretty widespread ability trees and leveling ups and stuff like that. It fit... Yeah, I mean, it fit, like I said, it fit the craving. I thought it could be a little bit better. I mean, I think it was a little bit more flash than there was content, at least originally when I first played it. But like I said, it's grown, it's done better. I still would recommend it to the right player. I haven't played it in a while, but it definitely fulfills that need. I mean, oh crap, there's 50 enemies on screen. Hit one button. Haha, they're all dead. It's kind of like, it's typical hack and slash. I mean, it's not going to be like the times in, like, Champions of Norrath when me, you, and Alec all just ate it miraculously or something like that. But
that was so much fun. I love Champions of Norrath.
Oh my god, what about this stuck on that one corner of the screen because we decided to walk onto this little plateau and the other two went the other direction? Well, it looks like you're gonna die.
When you're playing a multiplayer game that everyone sees the same screen and all the characters are on the screen.
That is hilarious.
And the camera's like, we gotta follow everyone. And so you're going through a maze and two of you are going through and someone's still back here picking up loot. And then all of a sudden,
it shifts. And we're just, guys, can you come back here? Nope. But you need to come back.
We're progressing.
Looks like you're going to have to die then. But I can't. Well, figure it out.
Yeah, and that also, Champions of Norrath, I had a good time with the fire arrows. However, that game had every kind of potential friendly fire.
Oh my god.
So,
that game in friendly fire was the worst.
Literally.
You'd be like
if like Brian and Alec are fighting a bunch of skeletons, I'm over here, and it's just like, don't worry, bros, I got you.
Yeah,
there they went. I went everybody.
You could literally go from full health to dead in an enemy that should not have any means to kill you. You're like, what happened? And you're like, oh my god, it had to be you. Like, it's like, oh,
I killed him.
I got everybody, including me. Like, yeah, I cast magic missile into the darkness, and it exploded everything. I mean, that's the thing. That was one thing about that game. It did not pull any punches with friendly fire.
I loved that game.
But
Champions of Norrath. Good old PS2 classic.
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
I would love to have something like that back. I'm still craving like I said, like a Baldur's Gate or something that bring back like the whole, hey, you have all these quests, they're all in different dungeons. Please go grind through them, go through the maze, slowly level up your guy, get up your equipment, and all the other fun stuff.
Kind of a brainless fantasy game. Like sometimes you just want.
Yeah, I mean, it just made sense. It was just I don't know. I grew up with it. It's one of those things where you grow up with it. It's kind of nostalgic. I would just like to play them again, and just hasn't really been a good feel for it or a good feeling for it. I mean, I did play what the hell is it? The latest Gauntlet, which also was came out not too long ago.
God, Alec and I played that. And we played it once. Like I bought it.
The newest one. The newest one.
Yeah.
I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. I mean, it wasn't.
Oh.
Really? You didn't like it?
We dinged right off. Wow, no, not at all. If they had Steam refunds, then I would have asked for one.
It took me a little while to get into, but after I got a little bit further into it, I did like the game. I like Gauntlet a lot. I mean, I've always liked Gauntlet, but it was a little hard to get into, especially considering I felt like all the characters, even the tank class, was super squishy. Like the only way I got through the game was I played the Ranger out of all people because he could dodge. So that was my entire strategy. But like I said, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't the game I want, but it was another Band-Aid for it.
Yeah, I get that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
What all is our last news item?
Final news item. This is one that I put on the list for me, just because, like I said, I am an old school RTS junkie. I love real-time strategy. I always have. My very first game I ever played for a PC back on my Windows 98 was an RTS game. Probably my first 5 games were all RTS games. Steel Division Normandy 44 is a real-time strategy game.
Sounds like the name of a real-time strategy game.
Yeah, it's kind of like, have you ever played Band of Brothers? Like, no? Tom? Maybe? No. Well, it's another, not Band of Brothers. Oh my god. Heroes or something. Company of Heroes. Company of Heroes is like, what the hell are you...
I'm responding to May and chat. Yes.
Yes, you should. But anyway, so it's Steel Division Normandy 44 is a real-time strategy game that's kind of set in World War II. It's you get a giant map. You have tons of different characters, companies and heroes and cards that you can choose from, and you basically send them out. Like you can say, "Oh, I need more rifle division." Then you grab the rifle division, you drag them out on the screen, and then they like slowly run up. You can put them to cover. It's just it's a very realistic RTS in a sense. It controls the way you feel like it should control. It looks like the way it should look. Like you can send people into cover. You can send people into buildings, a garrison a building. You can literally deploy artillery. There's a few things that are obviously RTS up. Like they're definitely like more game oriented than they are realistic. But it's kind of cool because like you can say like, oh, I want to make a brand new army, and I want to make I want to make a U.S. Panzer, not Panzer, like a U.S. tank division or something like that. But you have these cards that kind of like deck building. You can then just assemble your army out of them, and so you can actually customize your own army each and every time if you really wanted to. As you unlock new cards, as you unlock new people. Yeah, I unlocked a brand new tank, or I unlocked a brand new anti-tank gun or something like that. And you can actually build your deck there's 3 phases to every battle. You can actually bias your army or to be very very early phase, so that you can almost Zerg rush. You can be very late game, so as long as you weather the storm, that you hit a sledgehammer at the very end. So it's a really cool, interesting little game.
I like the idea of it mixing with deck building. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean it's very interesting. Like you said, you can balance out the tank divisions or the armor divisions. They are almost always third phase oriented, because obviously it takes a while for tanks to get moving and everything else. So it takes a while for them to arrive. It's kind of I think the premise. But people that are very infantry heavy make almost all their progress in the early game, because they just spam out units, right. And obviously they can push flanks and hold positions far better because they have far more points allotted to them in the beginning. So it's really interesting to see how that works and how that functions. It's a cool little game. Right now it's still kind of it's like a unofficial beta, meaning if you buy the game now in early access, you get instant access into whatever's available in the game. Right now, it's just like there's 2 maps, a few armies, one or 2 different play styles. It's a game that's gonna be on my list. I don't know when I'll buy it. I'm still thinking I probably will buy it when it gets rolling, because it's promising to be like several thousands of or several hundreds of different types of units and things like that, different battles on different types of maps. And I think the end result should be pretty cool. It
looks really cool.
Yeah, the videos are a lot of fun. The aerial combat I wish was a little bit better, but I guess for what it is, it's probably as best as it can be. But it's kind of like there's this I completely forget the title of the game, but there's like an uber realistic strategy game that I remember watching a YouTuber play a little while ago, that it was realistic to the point where you had a completely 100% massive topographical map that you actually had to position people, you had to tell them where to go, how to look, where to aim, how to shoot, what to hit when, and you had to deploy flares sometimes, and sometimes you actually lost a recon. It was a super realistic to the point of almost over to the point any single engagement would probably take you a few hours because you're constantly managing things. This game, I feel is the right level of realistic excitement, as well as it kind of gives you that Commander feel of World War II, which is what I think is the whole point of this.
Yeah. Well, it looks like a tabletop game, but it has as far as tabletop strategizing, but then the visuals, just from what I'm looking at here, the visuals are pretty hyper realistic. Not super realistic, but more than you'd expect, I think.
Exactly.
And that's really cool for that atmosphere of okay, I'm gonna plan this military maneuver. Now I'm gonna see it happen.
Yeah, it's really cool. I do like it. And also, if you the multiplayer actually promises you can have 5v5 people on the same little map, and it just becomes insane to watch all of those units converge. It's just hilarious to watch. It's just. All the explosions, all the rounds going off. You can see the tracers going. You can see the buildings explode. It is
tracers going, but we're done talking about Overwatch.
But anyway, but yeah, it looks fun. I'm keeping my eye on it. Hopefully, when it makes a little bit more progress, maybe I'll pull the trigger on it. Cool. And time for a break.
Little break. Speaking of break, good time for a pee break.
All right. I shall hold the fort.
Okay, I will be right back, folks.
How's everyone doing out there? How's everyone liking the stream? Any other question, comments, or concern about anything we were talking about? Cisco Squash, Fisher Queen, Zombie. How's everyone doing? Scaly, Fisher Queen, Zombie. I know some people went off to get some ice cream. Otherwise, we're just going to be getting right into our playlist when Tom's get back. No, definitely. It should be interesting, because I actually think it'd be a character that Tom likes more than I do, but I'm just curious how they're going to morph his abilities in the HOTS, just because they didn't really do a good job with Lucio, but I think Genji's almost already well set for it. Yeah, me too. I almost consistently play random heroes now, 6v6, all random. Whenever I get Genji, I'm just well, this should be fun. It never lasts long. He's one of those players, or one of those characters that whenever I play him, I don't even think I deal damage. I just instantly explode. Whenever I play against him, I just get owned. So it's I don't know if people just spend hours upon arrows, just trying to master him, but it is intense.
Genji,
yeah. I understand how he's supposed to work. I just can't do it. It's oh, he has reflection. I think the only time I've ever did anything good as Genji, I reflected a Widow. I deflected a Widow snipe into her own headshot. That was it. That was the best thing I've ever done.
Really?
I was
That's
staring
awesome.
at her going, I think that's a Widow. screw it. And I just put on my deflect and just deflected straight back. That was the only time I've ever done anything good with them.
I need to know this story.
In the spawn? How did you do it in the spawn room?
I die instantly once inside the spawn room.
How do you do that inside the spawn room?
Did you like punch the basketball and then deflect it and it like bounced off?
Did you jump off like did you jump off a cliff or something? Did you jump out a window?
I did not know you could die in the spawn room.
No, neither did I. I know some characters you can damage.
Bad about taunting everyone from inside there.
Well, I know some characters can actually damage themselves with their own abilities.
Well, yeah, like Junkrat.
How did you headshot yourself?
In the spawn room?
How? Were you was your head against the door and someone just shot it?
It's like 2 pixels of the head are peeking out. Yeah. So
I could see that. No one
said it was a headshot because I was gonna say it was a splash damage, but
no, far. Yeah, it would make sense.
See, I thought you hated Genji because you're a Mercy main, and
Mercy Genji is awesome. I like Mercy.
Oh no! I love Mercy, but the thing is that it's like Genji is constantly like need healing.
Yeah, no, I remember. Well, we'll get this. I don't want to spoil anything, but yeah, usually if I play support, it's either Lucio or Mercy. But whenever I play Mercy, I always have my best games as Mercy for some stupid reason. Like, Mercy's my fun.
I thought Mercy was going to be my main until I met Lucio, the good boy. Like, it's just incredible.
Mm-hmm. No, definitely.
It is all you need. And the little icon over his head. And it's just like...
That's why...
The thing with Lucio is that you're just like, hello, hi, I'm just skating through here. I hope you feel better. Bye.
Yeah, that's the only thing I like about Lucio is the fact that as long as you're near someone, they get healing, as opposed to Mercy is like, I know whether or not you are or are not healing me, which is the problem. But
everyone in competitive hates Mercy. Why? My favorite video.
Well, I've only ever seen Lucio as a competitive support.
My favorite video is that one that was like really early on in Overwatch's lifespan, where it's like Zenyatta and he's just floating there.
Oh, the one I showed you.
The payload.
Yeah.
And
payload.
It's like payload.
And then he gets headshot.
And like Soldier 76 shows up, gets headshot, gets revived. He's like, soldiers never die, or heroes never die.
And sprints off. I love that little clip. I forget. I remember I sent that to you, but I forget where I found that.
Oh, it's so funny.
But yeah.
We should get back recording here. Alright. Hey, speaking of that, we're literally about to talk about Overwatch. That's funny.
You good? Alright.
Good.
And moving right along into our playlist for the week. Of course, as always, we're both massively going through Mass Effect. And so we're not going to try to talk as much onto that as we usually do. I mean, it's kind of more of the same, progressing through, all well and good, still liking it, still progressing. So my main contribution to the playlist this week is I did try the new Overwatch PvE event, Uprising. I did. It was actually surprisingly a lot of fun. I didn't get to play Jenkinstein's Revenge as much as I wish I did. We kind of talked about this last week, I think. But yeah, I did get to play Uprising, and it was a lot of fun. It was, I think I probably would like to play it at a higher difficulty, because I played it on normal just to kind of get a feel for it, just to see what it was like. I think normal was a little bit too easy, but to Zombie's point, I did the... because obviously when you do the standard one, there's two versions of it. You can do Uprising, which is the way it's meant to be played, which is like the 4 dead fast heroes, Tracer, Reinhardt, Mercy, and Torbjorn. Or you can do it as Uprising, and just you can pick whatever heroes you want. There is like an all-pick version of Uprising. And I did the 4-player one, and I didn't really care, so I was just letting everyone else choose their hero first, and of course everyone chose Torbjorn, Reinhardt, and Mercy, and Tracer. So I was playing Mercy. I'm like, this makes sense. Whatever. I tend to play Mercy a lot. I'm a halfway decent Mercy player, so I'm like, this is fine. But I don't know if they just didn't care. But the stupid Tracer, every time I turned around, was just like exploding. I'm like, but the cool thing. Oh, here's one thing I thought was really cool in Uprising. Uprising, anyone can revive anyone. you actually, if someone
Really?
dies, you can just walk over to them, hold a button, and after a little while they revive. You don't need Mercy's ultimate to revive, which I thought was
Because I thought
really
that the
cool.
point of having Mercy as a character was that, okay, she's the healer, revive, etc.
And she still does it. Like, her ultimate still does it, but if anyone else wanted to revive somebody, anyone could just walk up and just revive. It actually was kind of nice. It didn't really come up much because once again we were on normal, and the only like time that we had more than one person down, I used my ultimate. But it was fun. I mean, the mechs were cool. There were different versions of them. There were tiny little ones that exploded almost instantly. There was a kind of like mini bastions. There was lighter versions of bastions. There was actually full-fledged bastions. There were some people that actually had deployable shields that just walked up to you. I mean, it was really kind of fun, and
Yeah.
they deployed out of multiple different areas. It was a bunch of, like, the very first one's like a capture point. There's a few capture points, and then there's a payload one, then there's an escort one. So it's a big, has a little bit of variety into it. And I actually think it would be fun. I'm not sure how the scaling difficulty, or how the difficulty scales in the other forms. Like, I don't know if hard, like, versus, like, hard versus normal, is there more people, or the people... Or is it the same amount of people and they're just harder? I'm not sure. So it was actually interesting, but they did a really good job with it. I actually liked it a whole lot. It'd actually be cool to see it on the other levels, and because of if you play the version of the mission where it's attended, where you just have the 4 characters, the commentary in between them is really cool. Like the random like audio clips are kind of interesting. So,
the only thing that I've seen of that so far, because I haven't played yet, but I've seen, the posts online, is that, like, Reaper is, like, it's pre-Reaper. I can't remember his name. Gabriel Reyes. Mm-hmm. And apparently his voice is, like, sexy. And people are like, damn it, I want, the un-Reaper, the original version of him, to have that voice instead of the Reaper voice.
Hi.
Well, it's funny because Reaper is so, Overwatch itself is just literally, okay, yeah, let's roll with it. So I would not be surprised if they do it. They take the memes and they're like, yep, okay, that's canon, sure, whatever. We can neither confirm or deny, like some of these ships, but so that's all I know about it. I am eager to play. I know that Zombie in chat has played it. I've seen a couple of her tweets on it. I'd like to know more about her experience with it, but I like PvE.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. It was a nice change of pace. It was kind of cool to not have to do the whole like PvP for a change, especially with Overwatch, because it is so PvP heavy. It actually does PvE really well. Like if you took Overwatch and made it into just like a dungeon crawling, almost like just like an open world shooter kind of thing, it would be so easy just to transport it right in. Like, you could just pick your character, grind them up, level them up. I mean, it would almost be perfect. I mean, it's, they have a lot of the, of the groundwork already laid out. So, it translated really nice. It was a lot of fun.
Well, I mean, it started off as an MMO. That was,
yeah, original it.
And it's such an interesting thing, because
yeah.
Limited Heroes version was easier than All Heroes. So there's a version that's just the original.
Yeah, there's two versions. There's one where it's purely the 4 characters, and then there's one that's an all pick. Because you could see one where like, oh, I figured out that Sombra's ultimate just makes all the mechs explode or something like that. Like,
oh, okay.
So people there is a version of it, but yeah, it's kind of funny how that the one where they already like kind of hard coded the heroes into it is almost like they hard coded it in so that they have like some kind of like perfect synergy or something like that within it.
The balance was intentional.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, I'm eager to play it. I love the designs. I love Reinhardt's design. Looks really cool.
I like his a lot.
The blue and silver was really awesome. Yeah, hopefully I'll be able to play that soon. Unfortunately, my my game time has been pretty limited lately. So
yeah, you don't say. Mm-hmm.
Well,
mm-hmm.
The few times I have been playing games.
Take it away, Tom. Just take it away.
I've been playing The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild.
But Tom, That's a Nintendo game on the Switch. How can you possibly be on a PC gaming podcast? How could you?
Yep. Yes, sir. Okay, I've had like a big internal debate about this. All I'm gonna say is that I've been playing The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and this is still a PC gaming podcast.
Wink,
so,
wink.
I've never played a Zelda game before. My only familiarity, like we joked about, is like Smash Brothers. I remember Twilight Princess. I remember my ex playing that. Playing like the beginning of it and just literally to show me, like, just like, hey, this is the current Zelda game. It's just like, okay, that's neat. It didn't really do much for me, but what a game that did do a lot for me was Okami. Does anyone here remember Okami for the Wii? And I think it came out on the PS too.
Sounds familiar.
Absolutely gorgeous game where you played as Amaterasu, the White Wolf, and
yes,
especially the Wii version, you controlled brushstrokes. It was all like that Japanese style of art with the bold, like watercolor, big black strokes, and your commands and stuff were using the Wiimote motion control to draw, like, okay, use that ability, use that skill, etc., etc. But navigating that world, the kind of sense of meandering adventure, there's a long, huge, like once you thought you were done with that game, you were halfway through the story. Just this big place that you just wanted to be, whether it was for 5 minutes or 5 hours, this gorgeous thing. And I've been struggling to try and describe Breath of the Wild to people, and it's basically it's buzzword time, if Skyrim was made by the Okami people.
Really?
That's what it's like. That's probably the most accurate of the various like word salad descriptions I've given to it. It makes me think a lot of Minecraft when you're just playing the survival side of it. Like, I'm gonna go up that mountain. There's nothing up that mountain, but I'm gonna go up it. And you go up there, and oh wow, there is something up here. Huh, cool. Or maybe there isn't. Doesn't matter. You went up it. You can do what you want. You can do whatever you like. It reminds me a little bit of Kingdoms of Amalur. Especially in its combat, it's very swoopy combat. Very like, there's an enemy, you have a weapon, you hit it, he goes. It's a game of systems. It's a game. We were talking about this a little bit earlier. It's a throw things in and put in some physics, and here we go. Here's your game. It's a game of systems. So it's a game that's kind of got a loose story, like your Link. Stop Ganon. Okay, you can go to Hyrule Castle and you can give it a shot if you want, but obviously they're little kind of like story beats that you're following, and you're exploring the world, and you're discovering things, you're discovering shrines that give you abilities. They're like little puzzles, stumbling on treasure, stumbling on villages, little side quests that you can or don't have to do. You don't have to feel obligated to really do anything, so because it's a game of systems, it's really, the charm is just, I'm just going to set off in a direction and see what happens and go. And maybe something cool happens, or maybe you just have this peaceful jaunt through the hills and you're just like, that was really pretty. And you stumble on something, you're like, what's that? I'll have to remember that. And so you can come back to it later. But the way that stuff plays with each other, like I was playing last night, and there's like two types of these two enemy types that are pretty common. There's a very short one. Well, I say short, but he's like your size. And then there's a really tall one. And there were two of them near each other. And I ran up, and they looked at me, and the tall one picks up the little one and just chucks him at me. These are just two random enemy types. And it just is a thing that happens when they're next to each other. You could just be like, I need to attack that guy. Okay. And he's just like flailing as he chucks him. And I just like rolled it, dodged out of the way, and he goes rolling down the hill. I was like, this is an amazing video game. Just like this alone. There is an excellent dog. There is an amazing dog. There is a very good dog in this game. There is such a good dog. He is such a good boy. And if you stand next to him, he just basically falls in love with you and can follow you around. And like, I guess that can point out treasure or things like that. I don't know. I just was like, look at this dog. Look at this dog. It was amazing. It was an amazing dog. He was so good. He was a good dog. The way, like, the most recent thing I've done pretty much is tamed a horse, which is literally taming a horse. So they're like, hey, there are a bunch of horses in that field. Spotted horses are pretty chill. Sun-colored horses are kind of jerks. Go get one if you want. Go get you a horse. And so when you get on a horse, it doesn't obey your commands. First off, you have to like sneak up behind the horse, mount it, chill it out, and then ride it around. And as riding it around and telling it to do stuff, you know, you can press a button to be like, hey, that's cool, good job. Eventually you build up trust. But what's really cool, this brings back memories of Shadow of the Colossus, is that just sometimes the horse, I just knocked my headphones out. Sometimes the horse is just like, I know you told me to go straight, but I'm going this way now. And you're just like, oh, whoa, no. And that happens less and less the more you use that specific horse, which is cool. I like stuff like that. It's really, really pleasant. Like, it's a pleasant game. I actually, when I first saw like screenshots of it, I thought this looks kind of like, I don't know, like almost empty, like really quiet, but it's not. This is so dense with stuff. It's just that it's not scripted. Where you have something like Mass Effect or Skyrim, where it's just like everything you come across is this voice acted, especially Mass Effect, voice acted and clearly written, orchestrated sequence of events, and you know, very, very specific. This is just like, it's one of those games where my interaction in that area could never happen to anyone else. You know, you could just stumble on a sequence of enemies, area, loot, whatever, you know. Oh, it's, you know, these guys have torches. Oh, but it's raining, so their torches are out, so they can't use their torches. You know, it's just, it's all systems. It's all things that are interacting all at once, and it's so crisp, so clean. It's very Nintendo. I have played Nintendo games, so I know, you know, there's a definite degree of like pleasant bleeps and bloops to everything, you know. Like you go to the menu and it's like bidoo. That's a very Nintendo kind of feel to it. It's really good. There's a reason why this game is getting like 97, 98% reviews. I don't know.
Is it your?
I fell asleep playing it.
How did you manage that one? Like, did you like fall asleep on your keyboard?
I was sitting right back there because I was playing, you know, with the controller.
Oh, you're okay. You're doing a controller.
Yeah, looking at my TV. I was just doing the stuff, and then all of a sudden I woke up and Link was running full force into a wall. I was just like, whoa, wow, you know.
Now, would you put it over the other games that you've currently been playing? Like, would you?
It sits in a different place.
Okay.
Like, because I've been going back and forth between this and Mass Effect, right? And Mass Effect it's exceptional. It's an exceptional Mass Effect game. It's an exceptional BioWare game. It's an exceptional, again, scripted. It's a scripted game. It's a game with a very yes, it's an open world game, but there are very specific quests. There are very specific stories that it's telling. There are specific, like, I don't know. It's
more scripted. It's more planned. Yeah. It's more controlled. It's
more controlled. That's a good word for it. It's more controlled. This is really weird. It's like Mass Effect Andromeda, just to name, you know, a game that I'm playing right now, is more scripted things that it's doing, and it has more just really specific stuff. But Breath of the Wild feels more focused in that we want you to just feel a certain way when you're playing this game. We want you to get into a certain headspace when you're playing this and just be in our rolling green fields and our vast, you know, deserts and our cool lakes and and just it's almost really similar. Like I went for a walk yesterday, right? Big old walk around the yard and just taking pictures of things and stuff and out and about amongst the nature. And that's what this game feels like. Like, it's that feeling of just, I'm gonna go outside and meander, you know, and see what I see. And maybe you stumble on something, you're just like, look at that cool thing. That's really cool. So, the thing with a video game versus real life is that that cool thing may have like, oh, wow, there's a little puzzle here, and if I solve that, I get an awesome sword that I can use to, you know, improve my skills. So there's video game elements to it, but it's tapping into the same part of the brain of like, I'm gonna go for a hike outdoors. That's, you know.
So is there actually like a central plot that you can follow, or is it okay? So there is an actual like storyline.
But what's really nice is there's like the lowest of pressure. It's the most chilled out, hey, just so you know, the world is ending, but like no biggie. You know, if you're like the one person who can save us all, but like if you don't want to do that right now, that's okay. And I'm like, I've never experienced this before.
So
it presents you with like it's an apocalyptic scenario, but it's like not that it's. You play a game like Mass Effect, and it's, hey, get here. Oh my god, get there. Oh my god, this is happening. Especially Mass Effect 3, I struggled with that because it was like, the Reapers are attacking Earth now, and I'm about to spend the next 80 hours just going about on a space jaunt.
Basically, yeah.
Just, but you were gonna say something.
Like, I was trying to think. So, can you? I'm trying to think, like, the single-player story, the fact that it's not rushed, is it still good? Is it, but there's, like, no pressure on doing it? Like, does it even need it? Like, that's the thing, like, is it just, like, a bonus? Does it, like, should it even be there? Okay.
I'm glad that it's there because it's giving me the vaguest of motivation. Not that I really need it. Like, it's almost like it presents you with a big picture goal, you know, and that's not just save the world, but it's like one of the early missions that I had to do was, hey, you know, there's these shrines in the starting area. The game is huge, the game is enormous, and there's these shrines in the starting area that you basically can see. That's the only reason you know that they're out there. And this guy is this old man, this mysterious old man is like, hey, I'm kind of helping you out here. You want to go to those shrines. You want to you know, you've been resurrected. The game starts off and you've been asleep for 100 years, and you wake up with basically like an iPad, like a Zelda version of an iPad, and it's like, oh yes, that's a Sheikah Slate. You can restore the functionality of this and go to these shrines, and it'll help give you these. What they do is they give you skills, you know. So it's like. There's one that lets you throw bombs. There's one that's kind of like almost a telekinesis thing. It's magnets, but you know, a magnet by any other name. And he just says, "Go to him. Come back to me when you've gone there." And so you're up at this high point. And you're just like, "Shit, those are really far away." Okay. And so you can kind of go to one immediately, and you do it. And he's like, "Good. Okay. Go to the other three." One of them is in this snowy area. You can only tell on the map. The map has no icons. The map has no icons. It's up to you to place icons if you want, which I love. I love. You can, it's like just have the map and a set of little different types of stamps you can put, like a star or a treasure chest or a sword. And so you see something and you're just like, huh, okay, I want to remember that this, you know, this point of interest. And so you go to the map and you just put a star there. That's up to you. You know, no icons cluttering up your map unless you want them to be. So, excellent idea. Very good. So, you've got this shrine. You can tell it's in this snowy area. You walk up there, and Link is just like, and just starts breathing. You know, you can see his breath, and it's like, okay, clearly this is too cold for me to progress. Oh, I'm taking damage. Let me get out of here. So you're just wandering around in the areas. Welcome back, Fisher Queen. What kind of ice cream did you get? So Link is just wandering around, and you find a little hunter's cabin, and you can go inside, and in the cabin is the old man's diary, and he says, yes, I have discovered a new recipe today. I call it, I'm going to get this wrong, but it's like seafood and meat fry, or something like that. Unfortunately, I remember that it was meat and spice, but I don't remember what else was in it. If only someone would make this for me, I wouldn't have any need of that warm coat that I've got. And so you're that's how I get a coat. That's a way I can get a coat. Okay. So, like, this is the path that I chose. I was like, all right, so obviously it's called, like, a seafood and meat fry. I gotta find a fish. So I'm looking around, I'm like, okay, there's several ponds. And I go to one pond, I'm like, oh, there ain't nothing here but frogs. And I go to another one, and it's fucking mud everywhere. There's no fish here. Finally, I found a fish. Caught the fish. Found a fire pit. Threw fish, meat, and spice into it, and boom! I went up to the old man, he was like, is that the meal that I've been looking for? Holy shit, half M&M, half Oreo ice cream. Sounds amazing. So I give it to him. He's like, here, have my coat. Okay. So I had the coat, and I could go to the snowy area. None of this is, like, really explicitly told to you. I mean, that is a bit, like, gamey, like...
A bit wink, wink, yeah.
Yeah. But, honestly, probably what I could have done is just cooked spicy food, which raises your core body temperature, and just, like, hogged it down, and I probably could have survived with just my regular coat, or shirt, rather. Don't know. Didn't try it. Might have worked. Or maybe I could have just carried a torch around and just had an ambient heat around me at all times. Who knows? That could have worked too. But I just picked the way that gave me the coat. So that's the kind of game it is. It's just, here's something for you to do. Whether you want to do it or not, go ahead. I mean, there's even a point where there's like a key story character that was like, are you ready to accept the challenge of being the savior of all of Hyrule? And it's literally like a yes-no option. So it's just like, so I could just literally click no and just kind of kick around, like, forever. So, but it's amazing. It's amazing to have a game that is so low-key. Please save the world, but on your own schedule.
Interesting. Yeah,
I love it.
I don't know if it's a game I'll ever play, but
I would love.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm intrigued enough to be intrigued, and that's about as far as it goes. Like it's usually not a game in my.
Hate it.
Yeah, I just can't tell if it's a game that's been in my wheelhouse. I've loved the things I've seen on it. Like I like the videos I've seen, I like the little GIFs I've seen. It's one of those games where I feel like it looks great, but I feel like if I actually got my hands on it, I personally wouldn't get much out of it. But who knows?
It's very, very much, I think, a game that you would not like because it's so not goal oriented. Like, yeah. Complete pleasure from Breath of the Wild comes from setting your own mini objectives.
Yeah, because like even like the open world games that I've loved, like Skyrim, I mean it's still technically goal oriented because you can still follow quests. This one is really you discover a quest yourself and then you choose whether or not you want to keep going with them.
Yeah, and they're very open. Even the little side quests that you stumble on are open ended stuff. I mean, there are a couple of things where it's just like, hey, can you deliver X to Y? But like I've seen like that twice so far, and even then it hasn't been anything out of the way. The game does a really good job of, in its opening like sequence, gently teaching you all of its things without having any kind of tutorial. It's like you come out and it opens up to this beautiful vista and there are steps leading down to the right. You don't have to go that way, but you kind of feel like, all right, I'll go that way. And that's when you first meet the old man. And then he tells you to do something and it's just like literally on the path straight ahead. And like you fight one enemy there and then you pick up your first weapon and then you et cetera, et cetera. So like it teaches you the stuff without being like, by the way, press this button to block, Now we're going to enter a training room, Link. That kind of stuff. It doesn't pull you out of the game to teach you what you need to learn. It's interesting. It's almost like it's a perfect game. Like it's just knows all the video game tropes and has like perfected them.
Interesting.
If you're into that kind of thing, Well,
I'm very intrigued to hear how this progresses with you. Like, what you feel like as you continue to play it.
It doesn't. There's nothing that's like I don't want to say there's nothing that's memorable, because it is memorable, but it's like, it's so low key. It's like I said, it's a game you can play for 5 minutes or 5 hours. It's so low key that you're not like when you think of Mass Effect, you think, oh, you have this thing that comes to mind. You know, you just have this specific image that comes to mind. You think of Skyrim, you think something comes to mind. This is more like the atmosphere of it comes to mind, like the pastel colors. You know, it's like, oh yes, that really pleasant game. But there hasn't been anything yet that's like really, I don't know, it's lightweight in a very, very, very complex way. It's an astoundingly complex, lightweight game. Shadow of the Colossus.
Mm-hmm.
That was a game that was really lightweight. Here's 12 big-ass guys, go find them.
Go do things,
you had nothing but the light of your sword. Just like, okay, there's one in that direction, and you followed it.
Such a good game.
It's like that. It's kind of like that, but with a lot more going on. It's as if you were doing that, but there was stuff every few feet along the way.
Really?
I know. Yeah. It's really good. It's a good game, Brian. I like it a lot. I like it more, and again, this is the only Zelda game I've ever played, but I like it more than any other Zelda game I've seen. You know, I've seen playthroughs and especially a lot of speedruns of other Zelda games, and I'm like, this doesn't really look like something I'd have fun with. It's a lot of puzzle solving, a lot of, you know, hit the story beats kind of stuff. This feels so much like I just want to, it's almost like I want to have it running at all times. I feel like playing it now.
Yep,
right,
take it up and down. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
interesting.
Play it, so.
You know, it's another game that any one person could play right now at any given time. It's our Figatua.
That's our free game of the week, which is 1001 Rogues. This is a cool little thing. I don't know if it was made for a game jam or what, but it's a browser-based game. The name kind of gives it away. It's almost a play on like, was it 1001 Arabian Nights?
Yes. Yeah.
That one, where every day you play this game, it's a different premise. So at its core, it's a roguelike game. Roguelike meaning that you kind of play until you die, and then you do a little better next time. Everything randomly generates. The map generates, the enemies generate in different places, stuff like that. It's very, very primitive. This looks like, you know, like Tandy or like Commodore graphics for aesthetic. #aesthetic. But the fact that every single day you play this game, it's a different premise, is really cool. So like the first time I played it, it says you're a Soviet soldier and you've infiltrated a gulag to kill a commander in each room. And so, boom, you show up and you've got a gun. You know, you're a little pixel guy. You got a gun. You're walking around the map. You can pick up stuff, and then, oh, there's a guy. Shoot, shoot, shoot. Ah, there's the commander. Shoot him. Now I can progress to the next level. And you can do that as much as you want throughout the day. Then the next day it says you're a dwarven miner and you've, you know, entered a deep cave and you're looking for ore, but watch out for goblins or something like that, you know. And it's the same kind of look, but now you're a dwarven character and you can only attack with your axe and watch out for little enemies, and you're also looking for that stuff, and it gives you a new premise every single day. So if you like this type of game, here's one that will last you forever. But that's 1001 Rogues, and we will, as always, post the link to that on our website,
which is addictedloot.com, where you can find just about anything. You can find links to our free game of the week. You can find links to our Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, of course, as well as iTunes, Stitcher, and SoundCloud, where we host all the pure audio versions of this podcast. You can also find our group email, which is at Addicted to Loot, which is addictedtoloot@gmail.com. Flip it back around. You can also find our group Twitter, which is at addicted2loot. That is the number 2. My personal Twitter, which is at FITH_atomic0. And yours is at TOMALITY, aka at Tomality. And as always, we have been Addicted to Loot and Tommy.
Keep it legendary.
Legendary?
Legend of Zelda.
I was thinking you're gonna say like keep it wild. I mean that would have been.
I thought that was too easy. I thought that was too cheap.
Keep it breathy. Like, come on.
Keep it breathing.
Keep it breathing. Then like that. We're out.